5 minutes later.
I got you stuck off the realness. We be the infamous, you heard of us. Official Queensbridge murderers. Tomorrow comes equipped with warfare. Beware of my crime family who got enough shots to share. He gets told it ain't nothing really. Hey, yo, done spark the Billy. So I...
The missile knows where it is at all times. It knows this because it knows where it isn't. By subtracting where it is from where it isn't, or where it isn't from where it is, whichever is greater, it obtains a difference or deviation. The guidance subsystem uses deviations to generate corrective commands to drive the missile from a...
This is one of those videos where it's like they say things that sounds like it makes sense, but it's absolute bullshit. But it just makes sense because somebody from the government said it, or somebody that sounds cool said it. No, missiles are
July
alien
1st,
technology,
2018, 9:20 a.m. A high-security prison south of Paris, one of the largest, most modern, and most secure detention centers in France. Hundreds of guards, massive 17-foot walls lined with barbed wire and armored doors. The courtyards are covered with anti-helicopter netting. On all 4 watchtowers, snipers with assault rifles stand at the ready. In solitary confinement cell 207, inmate number 00-10189 waits to be escorted to a visiting room. He is the most heavily guarded prisoner in the country. He was involved in at least 30 robberies, some including hostages, one involving a cash and transit heist that led to the death of a police officer. Twice, he slipped away from the police right at the scene of the crime. And 5 years ago, in 2013, he pulled off a spectacular escape from another high-security prison, using a smuggled gun and explosives to blast his way out. 2 guards unlock his cell to pat him down.
Shit.
They do find something suspicious,
I didn't crack my back.
but it's just a pack of gum. The guards like him, despite his staggering record of
Do they
high-stakes
say who this is
crimes.
about?
He's easygoing,
Or is
funny,
this just
and
like a
likable.
reenactment of the
It's almost like he's
escape?
perfectly comfortable here, behind
Or
bars.
do they even know who escaped? If you
20
do that
miles
good-
away, 65-year-old flight instructor Stefan Bai welcomes 2 new students, Frédéric and
Oh
Julien,
my
father
God.
and son. They're both hyped for their flight. They say they just want to tag along and watch him fly, not pilot themselves, but they do request it to be on board the Alouette 2, a vintage collector's model from the 1950s. The pair have been marveling at it because it just looks so pretty. Something feels sketchy. Stefan will later recall that he thought they were wearing wigs. But hey, money is money, right? They pay 500 euros in cash up front. Back in jail, the prisoner is escorted to the visitors block for high-risk inmates. It's situated as far away from the prison entrance as possible. Prison management has been on edge for a while, noticing a change in the inmate's behavior. He's received more visits and seemed to be sending coded messages during phone calls. His casual vibe with the guards could be a tactic to extract useful intel. A couple of days ago, a drone was spotted scouting the facility from above. Stefan is waiting for his students on an open field. He has landed on the clearing because they said they needed to stop to pee. They stepped out and disappeared behind some trees. When they return, they're armed. They claim to know his family and his home address. They say they have been watching him for months, and that their accomplices are waiting at his house as they speak. If he doesn't do exactly as they say, his family dies. They'll tell him where to fly next. On the visitor side of booth number 50, the inmate's older brother is waiting to see his sibling. He has no idea that his little brother is about to pull off the most spectacular prison break in French history.
No, you can't. That intro hard.
The prisoner calmly waiting for his helicopter ride is
Damn,
Ridwan
look at his
Faiz.
eyebrows. Big
He's
ass
the country's most infamous criminal.
Mr. Clean.
He's also a best-selling author, a movie buff and adrenaline junkie, and to many in France's immigrant suburbs, he's also a legend. But to understand all this, we need to go back to the beginning. (1978), a suburb near Paris. This is 6-year-old Ridwan. He's still in kindergarten, browsing through a newly opened store with his brother, who's 2 years older than him. There's not a single thing in this shop the two could afford. Their parents are Algerian immigrants. The father works in a factory, the mother cleans houses. At home, the boys shared a cramped 3-room apartment with 9 other siblings. The social housing block is surrounded by wealthy suburbs, full of wealthy French kids. Redouane and his brother do not fit the mold, and the store detective makes sure they know it. He calls them Petit Merguez, a racial slur for Algerian immigrants. But other than that, he doesn't really pay attention to them. Out in the parking lot, the brothers divide up their haul. It's Redouane's first theft ever. A couple of weeks later, he gets caught. His parents are furious, and his father whips him 20 times with a belt. His mother makes him promise he will never steal again.
You could just call me Reggie, bro.
Around this time,
Just call
Redouane
me Reggie
discovers the
again.
world of
It's all
film,
good.
especially French crime thrillers and American gangster movies. He watches them on repeat, memorizes entire scenes, and acts them out at home for his family. By his teens, stealing isn't just survival anymore, it's a way of life. He and his friends swipe TVs, stereos, VCRs, car radios, and computers. They use the money to buy Adidas sneakers and flashy tracksuits. But more than anything, they go to the movies. Again and
Adidas
again.
sneakers and flashy
Then,
tracksuits.
at 18 years
What's
old,
up with like French niggas and UK niggas? Fuck with Adidas. Like, why is Adidas so
Redouane
big out
commits
there, but Nike's so big in the US?
first bank robbery. He walks in armed,
Is there a
holds
reason
a
for
bank
that?
employee at gunpoint,
Is
and
Adidas
threatens him
European?
with a line straight from the
European?
French crime film, Marine. Shut up. Do what I tell you. I've got nothing against you. I only want the money. Think of your children. After the robbery, he simply goes back to school and studies for his high school exams. There's no one to scold him anymore at home. His father has moved back to Algeria, and his mother is dying of leukemia.
Algeria.
He'll later write in his
and
autobiography
leukemia.
that, from that moment on, he stopped caring.
Double whammy, gang. Double whammy.
Redouane Faïd's crimes are getting bigger, and they seem to be directly inspired by American action films. During a heist, he and his crew end up taking a bank director and his family hostage. They are wearing rubber masks with the faces of famous politicians, just like Patrick Swayze in Point Break. Redouane even delivers a line from the movie when they leave the scene.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and please
That
don't
shit
forget
makes
to...
you think like, which of our politicians are wearing masks, right? I feel like nobody asked that question. I know y'all seen that video of that lady showing, who was it, Bill Clinton? I think that lady showing Bill Clinton the realistic mask.
vote.
In another hostage situation 2 years later, Faïd and his men show up in sharp black suits in homage to Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs. They even adopt the thing with the color-coded aliases.
Mr. White, Mr. Blonde, Mr. Blue, Mr. Orange, Mr. Pink.
But this time the job goes sideways, and they have to flee from the cops, just like in the movie.
Nah, not just that, but yeah, also that.
However,
Epstein files.
all these spectacular
Because
crimes
it was in the Epstein files, wasn't it? They had a whole bunch of masks on the wall and shit. A whole bunch of weird shit, like those freak ass old men.
still don't seem enough for Faïd. One of his all-time favorite gangster films is Michael Mann's Heat, and after watching it over and over again, he sets himself a new goal: the holy grail of robbery.
On some eyes
Armored
wide
trucks.
shut type shit.
An industrial area on the outskirts of Paris, Faïd is behind the wheel of a Renault.
This makes me think, whatever happened to that Sound of Heaven movie? Or that Sound of Freedom? You know what I'm talking about? That movie that was about a whole bunch of sex trafficking and child trafficking, and it had a whole bunch of real footage in it. But then, out of nowhere, like, it got pulled out of theaters, and I stopped hearing about it.
He spots his target, a 6-ton armored truck with 3 armed guards inside, and slams his car straight into it. Within seconds, 2 more cars appear, blocking the truck from the front and back. 5 men in hockey masks jump out, AK-47s in hand, just like in the movie Heat. They surround the truck, moving fast. One of them slaps an explosive-looking package onto the windshield. The guards step out and surrender. Faïd and his crew start emptying the truck, but there's a problem. It's simply too much cash. Moving the money
Damn.
out takes way too long. After just 3 minutes,
have them
police
type
are
of
on the scene.
problems.
Gunfire erupts. Faïd takes a
Way
bullet
too
to the
much
shoulder.
cash.
He does manage to escape with his crew, but he has lost blood on the crime scene. Now the police have his DNA and start to investigate his identity. And if they catch him, he's looking at 15 years behind bars.
fucking crazy how the cops can find you off of your blood. 'cause
Stefan
your
Bai
DNA.
and his two captors
How
land
the
for a
fuck do
second
they have
time.
Everybody's DNA
The hijackers
match?
have 2 more men waiting on the ground.
They have a database.
They
of
haul large
everybody's
black
DNA.
duffel bags into the helicopter. One of them climbs
Probably
in,
what
all
they
dressed
do when
in
you're
black,
born. They
hood
take you
pulled
to the
over his
other room,
head.
They take a sample of your
Stefan
blood.
is held at gunpoint the entire time.
Fucking
Now he's ordered to take off again.
log your
He flips
DNA.
the ignition switches and presses the starter, but nothing happens. The kidnappers think he's trying to outsmart them and start freaking out. They beat and threaten him. If he doesn't do as they say, his family dies. Stefan manages to convince them that he really needs to step out to check the wiring. Finally, the engine roars back to life. They take off again. The hijackers are well prepared. The duffel bags are packed with tear gas, smoke grenades, masks, AK-47s, and an angle grinder. And so the heli thunders towards the high-security prison, where Redouane Faïd is sitting calmly in visiting room 50, chatting away with his older brother. Hands down, this really is the kind of stuff you'd expect in a Hollywood blockbuster. But say you're in the US and can't stream this French crime thriller due to geo-restrictions. Enter CyberGhost VPN. With servers in more than 100 countries, CyberGhost lets you bypass restrictions from anywhere through a secure device factor. It's 20 years earlier, the Movenpick Hotel in Basel.
Catch Faid if you
20
can.
years earlier, the Movenpick Hotel in Basel.
Thank you.
An
thank
employee
you.
enters a room to prepare it for the next
I
guest.
didn't watch it.
She has
He
no
snuck
idea
that
she's
shit
not
in there.
alone. Redouane Faïd has been hiding there for over 3
What
hours.
the fuck? He under the bed?
Outside, the police are searching for him across the entire city. A few hours earlier, Faïd was arrested on a train heading from Germany to France. German federal police took him into custody. He had been hiding abroad for months. But when the officers escort him off the train, he manages
That
to break
nigga
free.
like a young
He
Gru.
runs straight across the tracks to shake the cops.
Is this like Gru's origin story?
The train roars in and blocks the officers from following. He jumps several meters down and twists his ankle, so now he's limping. Somehow he makes it
Who
to the
is
back
this
entrance
nigga?
of the Movenpick
Agent
Hotel
00?
and sneaks inside. He finds several open
How
doors
is he moving
since
like
the cleaning
this?
staff are still
Undetected?
working. He needs to get out of here somehow. He thinks about calling a contact in Strasbourg, but he doesn't have a phone. So what now? There's a payphone right outside the hotel, but he also doesn't have any coins. He calmly approaches the receptionist to ask if she can give him some change for a bill. She places the coins in front of him, which leads to another problem. His hands are still cuffed. What if she notices and calls the police? Faïd keeps it cool, acts like he's casually reading a promo poster behind the desk. The moment the receptionist turns away, he quickly scoops up the coins. The first call fails, and he disappears onto the hotel rooftop to hide for a couple of hours. He tries again, turns around, and finds himself surrounded by 20 police officers.
Damn.
The next day, Faïd is at the hospital with 2 officers to have his ankle checked. He seems to be in serious pain, but that's just an act. In a fraction of a second, he drops his crutches and snatches a gun from one of the officers. He trained in Krav Maga during his time in Israel, a super efficient military combat technique designed for fast defense and
Propaganda. Propaganda alert. Propaganda alert. I need an alarm. Propaganda alert. Of course this man is on some fucking hero this nigga's on some movie scene shit. And they just had to throw in that he's from Israel and was training for years. Propaganda.
The next day, Faïd is at the hospital with 2 officers to have his ankle checked. He seems to be in serious pain, but that's just an act. In a fraction of a second, he drops his crutches and snatches a gun from one of the officers. He trained in Krav Maga during his time in Israel, a super efficient military combat technique designed for fast defense and brutal disarmament. Before the second officer can react, Faïd drives his elbow into his face. The officer drops and Faïd takes his gun too. Then he runs, as fast as he can, for the second time in 24 hours. You would think a guy like that would be watched extra closely in jail. At 11:18 a.m., this prison
they
guard
got
hears
him?
a strange noise.
Y'all out of the
A low hum or
2018?
buzzing sound coming from outside.
This is a true
To
story?
her, it sounds like a leaf blower. Weird, she thinks. The gardeners are not supposed to work on Sundays. Well, it's not a leaf blower,
True
but the
story.
facility is prepared
Yeah.
for this.
This nigga's
This
a
sentinel
dog,
receives an
bro.
urgent order over the
Fucking
radio.
dog.
Unseal. The same thing happens on other watchtowers. Each one is equipped with a special case. The guard has to break the seal to open it. Inside is an HK G36 assault rifle. He grabs it and takes aim. The helicopter just keeps descending. The prison yards are covered with anti-helicopter netting. Flying in here would be a suicide mission. But this is not a random helicopter. It's a 60-year-old vintage model, just small enough to slip through this unsecured gap in the last one of the prison yards. Also, this is not a regular landing. In fact, they're not
Who
touching
is this
down
nigga
at
for
all.
them to come pick
Redouane
him up?
Faïd must have known somehow that prison guards are not allowed to shoot at a flying helicopter. There's a proper protocol for this. And maybe he also knew that Stéphane Baye is one of the few pilots in all of France who are skilled enough to pull this off, to keep this specific type of vintage heli steady enough while hovering above the ground. Investigators will later discover that Faïd had been writing letters to Stéphane's stepdaughter for 2 entire years. And this friendship was not Faïd's only connection to the outside world, because at this point, Redouane Faïd was already a star. October
Slumdog
2010,
millionaire.
12 years after his escape in Basel, 8 years before his helicopter prison break, Redouane Faïd sits in a French
Helicopter
talk show.
prison break.
Gangster, braqueur,
Imagine being like,
voyou,
yeah, my
voleur, appelez ça
dad
comme vous voulez,
broke out of
revendiquez votre
jail.
existence-là. Bonjour Redouane Faïd.
Bonjour.
Les banques, vous en avez braqué combien en
Flew
tout
away in a
Alors,
helicopter.
officiellement, j'en ai braqué qu'une, puisque j'ai été condamné que pour une
Bring
banque.
my dad to
On
school
m'a
day.
soupçonné d'en avoir braqué une trentaine, mais bon, ça
His,
c'est
his
que
son
des
and
dires et
daughter
des
is going to have
racontars.
a crazy fucking
He's a
time.
welcome guest at the time, a bit of a sensation even. Redouane Faïd has written a book about his cinematic crimes, so now he's making the rounds on French TV to promote it.
C'est terrible de dire ça, mais le cinéma a été pour moi un mode d'emploi pour braquer.
Et on voyait ça un petit peu, l'attaque de fourgon blindé en ligne de mire. Pourquoi? Parce que quand tu attaques un fourgon blindé, c'est le top des tops.
The caption on screen reads, former gangster. Well, not so long ago, he was anything but. In late 1998, 3 months after his escape in Basel, Faïd was caught and sentenced to 18 years in jail for armed robbery. He was granted parole for good behavior after just under 9 years. Now he presents himself as a changed man, as someone who has learned his lesson.
La vie de bandit, c'est que de la vie de merde. Vous savez, vous faites souffrir tout le monde. Quand vous allez en prison, c'est une sanction carrément qui est collective parce que votre famille, votre femme, vos enfants, vos frères, vos sœurs, vos parents, tout le monde paye.
He got married. His brother has landed him an office job. He appears to be taking it easy now. At one point, he attends a film event where Michael Mann is physically present, the director of Heat, the very film that inspired his biggest heist.
Moi, personnellement, je suis un ancien gangster. Malheureusement, je ne m'en vante pas. Je viens de faire une dizaine d'années de prison. J'ai attaqué des fourgons blindés, des bijouteries, des banques, monsieur Toubiana, je pense. Et je leur ai répondu que non. J'avais un conseiller technique, un prof de fac, une sorte de mentor. Et il s'appelle Michael Mann. Alors, ma question, en fait, elle est simple. C'est est-ce qu'il a conscience qu'il y ait des gangsters qui puissent s'inspirer de son cinéma? Parce que moi, ça m'est arrivé.
Faïd addresses Mann directly. Michael Mann looks amused, but also a bit uncomfortable. He doesn't know what to say.
Thank you for that. I don't know how to respond.
In another talk show stint, Faïd is asked if he thinks he could ever relapse.
Ah non, moi mes démons, vous savez, ils sont morts, ils sont pas endormis.
That's a bold-faced lie, because at this point, he's already back to committing crimes. And not just petty theft, but a crime so shocking it will shake the entire country. May 20th, 2010, Créteil,
Why-
a
how could
suburb
you-
southeast of downtown Paris.
What could he do?
2 officers
I'm not
are
gonna
on
ask that,
routine
'cause it could
patrol,
always- you
Thierry
know what?
M. and his partner Aurélie Fouquet.
Never mind.
Fouquet is 26 years old. She became a mother just a year ago. For them, it's just another day on the job. But then they get a call from the National Police. They're told to head to the A4 highway exit. Some criminals are on the run in a white van. They pull up at an intersection with flashing lights and blaring sirens. They have no idea what they're about to get into. These men had a plan to rob an armored cash truck carrying 16 million euros. But 30 minutes ago, a routine traffic stop turned their heist into a high-speed, all-out chase with the police. Now they've crashed and need a new getaway car. But at that exact moment, the 2 patrol officers arrive. The gang doesn't hesitate to open fire. The windshield of the patrol car alone is pierced by 16 bullets. Fouquet is hit multiple times. The
Damn.
gunmen flee. Fouquet is rushed to the hospital, and by the end of the day, she is dead. The murder of Aurélie Fouquet sends shockwaves throughout the entire country. At her funeral, thousands of police officers stand in mourning. Among them is French President Nicolas Sarkozy. He posthumously awards her a Medal of Honor and delivers a promise. He will do everything it takes to find out who did it.
Les meurtriers d'Aurélie Fouquet, je le dis devant son cercueil, seront punis avec la sévérité qu'exige l'ignominie de leur crime.
Redouane Faïd feels safe. So safe he keeps telling his gangster stories on camera. Here he is in a documentary. The film recounts how Fouquet was gunned down, and then Redouane Faïd appears, not as a suspect, not as a fugitive, but as an expert on this kind of heist. At the time, the filmmakers had no idea that the man sitting in front of them had a part in the killing of Aurélie Fouquet. The failed attack on the armored cash truck has Faïd's signature all over it, but he has an airtight alibi, and he swears he was not involved. But investigators keep digging and eventually find compelling surveillance footage. A security camera has caught Faïd inside the white van used by the criminals. Faïd was not on the scene when the shots were fired, but police gather enough evidence to pin him down as the mastermind behind the operation. After 1 year on the run, Faïd is captured, again, and he goes straight back to prison. Whether you're invited to a talk show or heading out on a date, there are moments when you want to look your best. But shaving is often a struggle. Many men experience razor burns and get nervous about shaving right ahead of an important event. That's why Henson set out to fix shaving with real precision.
I thought it was going to be Manscaped.
Level precision.
Henson, I haven't seen that yet. Hold on.
Less than a human hair. That blade support makes for less flex, less irritation, and just a better, safer shave. We are big fans. Go to hensonshaving.com.
No.
2 inmates are taking out the trash.
Not sponsored.
By
Don't
a
go
prison
there.
guard. Suddenly, they see
I don't know
a
who that
helicopter
is.
in the
I don't
courtyard
support
next
that
to them.
company.
They wonder if it could be firefighters. The unarmed warden bolts into a nearby office, hiding behind bulletproof glass. Meanwhile, the 2 prisoners are about to witness Redouane Faïd's spectacular prison escape up close. One of the 3 men stays with Stefan, the pilot, and continues to press a gun to his head.
What does he mean the warden
The
ran
other 2
off?
jump out. They are masked and wearing bulletproof vests beneath their clothes. Each of them carries an AK-47. They've just landed in the honored courtyard. Prisoners do not have access here. It's only used when inmates enter or leave the facility. That's why nobody thought anti-helicopter cables were needed here. The man in green runs towards a reinforced white door. He carries an angle grinder with a 14-inch 35cm blade. His partner sets off 3 smoke grenades, releasing thick white smoke. The helicopter's spinning blades turn it into a roaring
This
chaos.
nigga must be.
Until the
He
entire
must be
courtyard is
fucking,
engulfed. A complete whiteout.
fucking kingpin.
The sound of the cutting angle screeches through the entire prison.
For them to cut him out of
Faïd knows
jail.
what that means. It's time. By now, it's clear to everyone that nobody here is blowing leaves. The blade of the grinder slices through the locking doors. Clean, precise. 40 seconds is all it takes. The man in green can just push the door open and step inside. The guards slowly realize what's happening, but they're not carrying firearms and are unable to interfere.
Damn.
One of them sticks to protocol and calls the Civil Aviation Authority. They don't understand what's happening. Another calls the standard line for police emergencies and gets put on hold. A third contacts the local police, but the officer on the other end thinks it's a prank.
They were in on
The sentinels
that.
on the 4 watchtowers are the
The
only ones
government was
carrying
in on that.
firearms,
I don't know
but
if-
they can't see the helicopter
I don't know how y'all
because their view
government
is
feel
blocked by
about
other
dude,
buildings.
but somebody had to be helping.
And they're not allowed to fire at a
At the
flying
top,
aircraft anyway.
because there's no fucking
Total,
way.
utter chaos. By now, Faïd's brother knows exactly what's going on. He's furious. He thought his brother was ready
Unless
to
he
change.
really just a kingpin.
And now this, another escape. He just can't help himself. Faïd's accomplice has already cut his way through several locks. And now he has reached the door to visiting room 50, where Redouane Faïd is waiting. The angle grinder slices through the metal. The door is open. Faïd has been waiting for this. He storms out and rushes down a long corridor, followed by the man in green. His brother is left behind, frozen and stunned. At 11:28 a.m., Redouane Faïd steps into the prison courtyard, 10 minutes after the helicopter got there. He sees the 2 inmates that have taken out the trash, brings his right hand to his temple, and gives them an Air Force salute. Then he climbs into the helicopter. Dozens of inmates stand pressed against the bars of their cells to watch. As the helicopter lifts off, the entire prison erupts into applause. It's almost like a movie scene.
A French gangster who broke out of jail by hijacking a helicopter.
A notorious
earlier.
gangster is on the run
Criminal
again.
who is a big movie fan. He has broken out of prison twice
And
now.
you can just about make out the helicopter flying off into the
Help of
distance.
multiple armed men who hijacked a
What's the song in the
helicopter,
background?
Picked up Redouane Faïd from within the prison grounds.
The news of Redouane Faïd's prison break spreads across the world. He was already famous, a TV figure, the center of a cult-like hype. But this is a whole new level. A well-known French actress writes on social media, "Bravo, Redouane Faïd. All of France is with you." The French police declare him the country's most wanted man. 3 months later, the authorities track him down. Hiding in an apartment in his hometown, Creil, he's been disguising himself under a burqa during public outings. When he finally stands trial in 2020, authorities take extreme security measures, including a no-fly zone above the courthouse. The court cites a psychiatric assessment describing him as a social predator and gifted at manipulation. He uses his charm and intelligence to control others and get what he wants. Faïd himself says that for him, it was always about the adrenaline. He says he is addicted to it and calls himself a sick man. His Hollywood-style heists made headlines worldwide, but he also made his family suffer, traumatized hostages, and caused the death of a 26-year-old police officer. Faïd stood 2 separate trials. For his heists, his role in Aurélien Fouquet's death, and his 2 escapes from prison. He was sentenced to a total of 39 years in jail. His lawyer says he's been held in solitary confinement since 2019.
Wait, hold on. Yo, man done left the eye on. Man done left the eye on the stove with the eye on hot. Man done left the eye on the.
I'm trying to get the
hot on the stove.
Oh, the water going?
Yeah. Man done left the pot on the stove with the eye on hot.
Damn.
That shit burn the house down. But we still in the spot.
Oh, you smelled that?
Yeah. I heard it sizzling.
Like,
Oh God, yeah, I heard it sizzling at first. I was like, yeah.
My bad. I thought the water was gonna be hot.
He is strip searched up to 5 times a day at random intervals. At least 4 guards escort him to each and every one of his phone calls. And even then, his hands have to remain in shackles. Faïd himself says he feels like he's been buried alive. His earliest possible release date is 2060.
Water's supposed to be hot.
He would be 88 years old by then.
Yeah, the eye on, nigga. It's over already? Wait, so...
Suffer, traumatize hostages, and cause the death of a
So you got
26-year-old
life?
police officer. Faïd stood 2 separate trials.
So my-
For his
I just
heists,
watched this
his
video,
role in
this nigga
Aurélien Fouquet's
broke out of
death,
jail 3
and his 2
different
escapes from
times.
prison. He was
And the
sentenced
very
to a
last
total
time.
of 39 years in
Damn,
jail.
39 years? And he broke out of jail twice? This nigga broke out of jail twice. And the second time, nigga, some niggas came and picked him up in a helicopter. Nigga flew
His
off in a
lawyer says he's
helicopter.
been held in solitary confinement since 2019.
Is there somewhere I can watch
He's
this
strip searched
fucking
up to
video?
5 times a day at random intervals. At least 4
That's what I'm
guards
saying.
escort him to each and
I
every
think
one
going
of
back
his
to your
phone
hometown,
calls.
he's
And
bold.
even then, his hands have to remain in shackles.
Dude has to be a kingpin.
Faïd himself
What type of
says he
power
feels
does
like
he
he's been
got?
buried alive. His earliest possible release date is 2060. He would be 88 years old
2060.
by then.
88 years old. He gonna get released as soon as they deem him not a threat to the public no more. Hey man, that was a good ass video though. That's just fucking crazy. That shit is fucking crazy. What is bro's name? I fucking forgot. Faïd. Is there footage of it? What the fuck?
Damn, you gonna be open inside the.
Ah, joga jouer. Se vem com isso, velho. É serê. É serê, é serê.
As soon as I get my head to do that, they'll come out. This nigga they really came in a helicopter to pick him up with AKs and an angle grinder. Broke into jail hard-bodied the guards and broke this nigga
Ah,
out
je
and flew
jouer.
off, man.
Tu viens qu'à courir, surveillant. Courir, SRE.
You can see him.
SRE, surveillant, SRE.
That's high key orb. Not even low key. That's high key orb. You know what I'm saying? You have to be familiar to come break you out of jail. Fully strapped and hard body in the guards. In the middle of the daytime.
Yeah, what?
Nigga flying off. Man, fuck that he got caught 3 months later. That shit's still crazy. I just wanted to come.